What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back. Talking Mets at Rob, live edition. How's everybody doing? Welcome. Talking Mets at Rob, guys. How's everybody doing? What's up? Thank you guys for tuning in. A lot to talk about. A little bit of winning from the Mets, a little bit of controversy from the Mets. All that in total is the New York Mets. Clearly and simple. I will get to your comments, your opinions, your responses in a little bit. I'm gonna rant a little bit for a couple of minutes about the controversy with Javier Baez / Lindor. If you haven't checked out my latest video about Lindor and Baez being troublemakers, setting bad chemistry and tone in the locker room, check out that video that I posted a couple of hours ago. It's a pretty good video. I go a little bit into more detail about who I think is the major culprit and if they're both the culprit or not, but check that out. All right, guys, so getting into the National Series really quick before I go on my rant about the whole thumbs down issue. It was nice to see taking 2 out of 3, winning the series against the Nationals. Clearly, the Mets needed that. The Mets really needed a sweep, but let's be honest, I take 2 out of 3 any day. So that's what we have to focus in on right now is winning games, 32 games left to go. The Mets have to win a lot of them. Now, it seemed what is very interesting to me, I don't know if you guys have checked the standings, but the Mets are closer to the wild card than they are the division. The Mets are 7 games back to the Cincinnati Reds in total, and only 6 games back in the loss column. So the Mets have a better chance of getting the wild card than they are the division. Problem is, they don't play the Braves or the Reds anymore until the Braves at the end of the year, the last 3 games of the season. So the whole live stream about, and you saw it in the thumbnail, do you still believe? Look, I'm the type of Met fan, you might think I'm negative. You might think I say things, a lot of negative comments around all the time. But at the end of the day, I watch every game. I go to a lot of games. You guys know I travel. I've been to LA, Pittsburgh, Washington, Philadelphia, so forth. I've been around the country watching these Mets. I go to Citi Field often. You guys know that. Yes, I still believe because I am one of those suckers, just like a lot of you guys are, who bleed orange and blue, who are diehard fans, who just have to get Mets baseball. And that's what we are. You're not a real baseball fan if you give up on your team when they're struggling, when they seem like they're out of it. Mathematically, the Mets are still in it with 32 games to go. That's all we need to know if you still believe. Now, this team hasn't been hitting lately. They have been hitting, which is nice to see. And before we talk about more, thank God this team finally is stealing bases. Lindor, you saw Nimmo do it. I mean, Baez did it. I mean, Jesus Christ. What pisses me off is that now that the Mets' backs are against the wall, now they start being aggressive on the base path. Wouldn't that have been nice in the beginning of August when we needed those stolen bases to get into a runner in scoring position? How many times we haven't ran, we hit into a double play, or we haven't stolen a base, and the guy hits a base hit? The guy went first to third, but if he was on second, he could have went second to home and got that run home. And Lord knows in August, we lost a lot of one-run games. I think during the Giants-Dodgers 13-game span, we lost 7 one-run games. 7. And those are the 2 best teams in baseball. And we lost 7 one-run games. It was this close to winning even half of those games, which would have put us at 65, 66 wins, would have probably put us 5 games out of the division, maybe 4 games from the wild card. But we're 8, 7.5 in the division, 8 in the loss column, 7 back in the wild card, 6 in the loss column. So mathematically, we're closer to the wild card than we are the division. What the Mets have to do in this Marlins series coming up, it was a 3-game series, now it's a 4-game series for the suspended game back in April. So remember, guys, there's a doubleheader tomorrow. First game's at 1 o'clock. The 1 o'clock game is starting from where it was suspended at. The Mets had one out, though the Marlins were up in the first inning, top of the first, one out, guy on first. Stroman was pitching that game, but Walker will be starting that game, starting that suspended game. So you'll see Walker on the mound tomorrow in game 2, the nightcap against the Marlins. Trevor Williams will be starting game 2. So remember, first game's on at 1 o'clock. I'm assuming on SNY. So we got to check that game out. Suspended game, top of the first. Marlins have a guy on first with one out. So that's what we're going to start with, the suspended game at 1 o'clock. Again, we're going to get right into the National Series a little bit more. I was very excited to see the Mets steal a lot of bases. They have to do that against the Marlins. They have to be aggressive. They have to show that they are the better team. No matter what you think record-wise, the Mets are a better team than the Marlins. You have to finally put your foot on their throat, get it going, do what they have to do. Let's beat this damn team. Could we sweep the Marlins? Because I'm telling you right now, you want to see how fast Met fans will be right back on board with this team? Sweep the Marlins, have a 6-game winning streak, and then we're talking. Because the Cincinnati Reds just lost 2 out of 3 against the Marlins. All right? The Braves did take 2 out of 3 against the Giants, but I feel like the Braves are going to come back to earth a little bit, and I don't think the Reds are going to win a lot of games. And I'm telling you right now, it's looking like 86 to 88 games, probably not even that much, probably 85 to 88 games, will probably win the second wild card. Because the first wild card is obviously probably the Dodgers or the Giants, and they're like 11 games up. So nobody's getting that first wild card. So I say between 85, I would even go, 85 to 88 wins will probably get you in the second wild card, facing off against one of the NL West teams. So, do you still believe? I still do, because I'm one of those Met fans who might talk negative, but I'll be the first one at Citi Field, Section 515, certain times with the 7-Line Army, traveling all over the country, watching the Mets. So I am a believer. I am one of those guys who will just love my Mets. I will continue to watch, continue to root. But, with the thumbs down thing, with the Javier Baez, Lindor situation, I have to say one thing about Javier Baez. I didn't want the Mets to get him. I thought it wasn't an option for the Mets since they had a shortstop. They have a second baseman. But I am happy to the fact that Javier Baez spoke the truth. He wasn't ashamed like some of these other players, i.e. Lindor, who basically beats around the bush on every answer he gives. Baez was truthful about giving a thumbs down to the fans since we've been booing them. But I have a huge problem with players being so damn sensitive to booing. You don't get paid millions and millions of dollars and be a professional ball player and be so sensitive to criticism, to boos. That's a problem. You know, you're not a college. I'll even expect college kids to get a little bit scared and nervous and have a little bit of, backlash, because they're college kids. They're not pros, even high school kids. But when you're a professional ball player, especially someone coming to New York, you have to know, like, you guys talk to your teammates, talk to other players around the league all the time. You don't think Francisco Lindor or Javier Baez to be like, hey, how is New York? What is it? You see it here and there, but, you can ask one of your fellow teammates. Like, I just don't know why they're so shocked that they're getting booed. If you play bad, if you don't live up to your contract, you will get booed, especially in New York. Hello, Lindor, this is not Cleveland. Hello, Baez, this is not Chicago. You got to remember, and I don't understand with Baez, you finally won a World Series for your Chicago Cubs, for that fan base. That fan base is never going to boo you again. You are loved. You are a god to them. You won the first World Series in 100 years. So you have to understand the fact that the Mets fans are the little brothers of the New York Yankees. There's no question in that. Nobody can argue with that. You have to understand that you're in a town where the Yankees are the most popular team. They're more successful team in baseball than the New York Mets. It's proven. Met fans are one of the most loyal fan bases in all of sports. We get crushed by ownership. We get now crushed by the players. We get losing season after losing season after getting destroyed by Baez yesterday, and how the players react on Twitter. Stroman, Walker, and you saw what Lindor did as well. It continues to be the Met fan as the problem, and it doesn't make sense to me. We dealt with seasons where we choked. I don't have to tell you about 2007 and 2008. We choked in the World Series in 2015. In 2016, we couldn't score a run against Bumgarner in the wild card game. Chavez with the catch in 2006 against the Cardinals. The Wainwright curveball to Beltran. We suffered over and over and over again, but yet it's our fault that we spent our hard-earned damn money to go to these games and to pay these guys salary, by the way, because if we don't go to games, you're not getting paid what Francisco Lindor got paid, okay? A lot of these players will not be getting paid because if you can go back to the pandemic year in 2020 and the big problem about salaries and money, how the players are going to get paid on a 60-game season, you see what happened when there's no fans in the ballpark. No income, no revenue, these players are not going to get paid. That's why their mindset is fucked up. And I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry to curse, but it's fucked up. Sooner or later, somebody has to tell them, hey, you're playing a kid's game. You're getting paid millions of dollars to play a kid's game. You are one of the best. You are 1% of the population that has a skill to play professional baseball. Why don't you understand that it's a privilege? It's not a given. It's a privilege to be a professional baseball player or any sport professionally. I don't agree with racial slurs, sexual slurs, going after a player's family. But when a fan boos you, that is the least of your worries. And if you can't handle boos, then get the fuck out of New York. How about that? I'm so sick of these whining players again and again and again complaining about something that they have control over. If you play better, you won't get booed. How about that? Lindor, how about looking at your stats and let me know if we should be booing you? What, are we supposed to give you a standing ovation when you strike out or hit into a double play in a big spot? Fuck you. I'm not dealing with that. I bleed blue and orange. I'm up at night when I should be sleeping before work, watching you assholes every night, cheering you on, even when you were terrible in August. When I could have easily shut that TV off, not give SNY ratings, go to sleep, get my 8 hours of sleep that I should be getting instead of my 3 hours of sleep or my 4 hours of sleep, watching you idiots underperform and not play to the back of your baseball cards. That's the big problem. All right, guys. Thank you for letting me rant a little bit. I'm going to get to your comments really quick. I see them rolling in. Hayden, Nelson, Joseph, Devin. What's up? What's up, Robert? SoCal, Frank. What's up? How you guys doing? I'm going to get to your comments really quick. Hayden, what's up? Nelson, I guess I'm okay. Hey, Joseph, what's up, buddy? Yeah, absolutely, Hayden. I like that. I like what you just said right there. Let me just pull up that comment really quick. So, only Mets can take a winning series and find it negative. It's amazing to me. The Mets finally got a series win after 3 weeks? And they turned in to a big controversy that shouldn't be this big. If Javier Baez would have just shut his mouth and kept on doing this with Lindor and Pilar and whoever else wants to do it, Met fans in the stands would be doing this every time a guy got a big hit or a home run. But now he brought it to our attention. He brought it to the media's attention. Now it's a big deal. Now it looks like a lot of the Mets players are like saying, you're going to boo us, we're going to boo you. But yet, sports is about passionate fans. If there wasn't passionate fans, there wouldn't be players living their best life, basically. I'm sorry. It's just that's why it's so frustrating that you finally win a series and then you say something like this and then make it known that that's why you do it. It's just not smart. It's just not. And it sucks. And it's unfortunate, but we have to deal with it, right? But you know how we'll stop talking about it? Sweep the Marlins. Have a 6-game win streak going into the National Series again. Let's go. Let's get it done. Right? That's what I'm talking about. Devin, thank you so much. I really appreciate it coming over from Hayden. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for subbing. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you tune in. Every time I go live, we have some fun. Just so you know, Devin, me and Hayden are gonna do a watch along on Sunday, the 1:00 game against the Nationals. Me and Hayden are setting it up right now, so hopefully you tune in. Thank you for tuning into my stream and subbing. I really appreciate it. Yeah, but you know what, Devin? That's true. Look, the Nationals basically got rid of their whole team. You're supposed to beat them. But there is the Braves who beat up the Nationals a lot. The Phillies beat up the Nationals a lot. A lot of other teams who are trying to go get a playoff spot have beat up the Nationals. So you're supposed to beat those teams. I think it's like 15 games in a row that we faced the Marlins and Nationals over the last 2 weeks. We have to win. We got to win these games. We're better than these teams. You have to beat them. Obviously they're going to come with a pitcher. Mostly the Marlins with Alcantara, who is a beast, who's going to be hard to beat. But you have to beat them. That's it. So, beat the Nationals because you're supposed to beat them. Beat the Marlins, you're supposed to beat them. You have a lot of these games against the Nationals and Marlins that you should win a lot of games. I think it's 15 games, if I'm not mistaken, 16 games. They have to go like 14-2, maybe 13-3 at the least to even get back involved. And like I said earlier in the stream, we're 7 games back in the wild card to the Reds and 6 in the loss column. That's a big deal when it comes to the loss column because, 6 games back of the loss column is not as frightening as just 7 games back and 8 games back in the division. So, like I said, it's going to determine if DeGrom is going to come back, what the Mets do in the next 2 weeks. And if the Mets can come back and get within, I say, 4 games of either the division or the wild card, then you can expect Jacob DeGrom to probably ramp it back up. Because there's no doubt, and I heard Hayden say this in his stream, there is no reason if the Mets don't get at least the 4 games back of a wild card or a division to bring back DeGrom, because it doesn't make sense. You're going to risk him hurting himself long term, where you might not have him in the beginning or all of next season, and it's not worth it. But if the Mets somehow can get it to 4 games in the middle of September with about 20 games to go, now we're talking. Because no matter what, if the Mets are about 4 games back of either the wild card or the division, the Mets have a shot. A quick winning streak, 5 or 6 games, and a couple of losing games from the Braves or the Reds or whoever's in that second wild card spot gives the Mets the opportunity to get a chance and have September where it matters, which we don't have a lot of lately. Because even in 2019, if you remember, when it got to the end of August, beginning of September, the Mets were kind of like on the verge of keeping it close, but they were starting to struggle after they was a 16 out of 17 game that they had in the month of August, and they kind of trickled down and lost a few that hurt them. And September was more of about Pete Alonso getting a home run record than anything else. So it's important to start with the Nationals. You have to beat those teams, Devin, and that's the idea. You got to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat, and then worry about the teams that are good and see if you can take a series from them. That's basically it. How about a Lindor Baez foam finger? Nelson, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, only because you saw Alderson about late last night, about 9:30, come out with a statement about the Baez thumbs down thing, that they weren't really happy about that, and then Cohen tweeted about it. So, it's not something that, is like, I mean, people probably buy it if they put it on sale, but I don't think that's something that they want to, it's kind of like a black eye to the organization, so I don't think they're going to do something like that. But that would be funny, though. Yeah, Joseph, that's all you got to do is believe. Believe, believe, believe. We're not going to be diehard fans and just not worry about it. And just say, oh, season over, whatever. I mean, when the Mets were already out of it by like July, I watched almost every game. I went to a few games, so I'm going to be here when they're mathematically involved. I'm going to be here even if they're 30 games out. I'm going to watch them. You know why? Because there's always something that you can pick up as a fan and say, you know what? Wow, maybe if they bring up, say, a Khalil Lee again in September call-up, I want to see how he comes back the second time, because everything I've heard from Khalil Lee, he's raking in the minors. And what you heard about with Khalil Lee, he was basically a magnet to Michael Conforto and trying to get all the things he can get, all the info, all the knowledge he can get from Michael Conforto. That's nice to see. The kid wants to learn. So a guy like Khalil Lee, that's who you want to see come up in September if the Mets are not in it for a wild card in the division, to see if he can progress, because he might be an option next year in the outfield. Depending on if the Mets make a trade, maybe they'll trade Dom Smith or do a crazy trade. You never know. Khalil Lee might be a big part of this team next year. So it's always important to look at the future as well. Yeah, Joseph, we need to look, at the very least, we need 3 out of 4. A sweep would be perfect. But 3 out of 4 is 5 out of 6. And you got to remember, the Reds and the Braves have to keep winning as well. If the Mets win 5 out of 6, the Braves lose. If they win 3 out of 6, the Mets gain 2 games. And the same thing with the Reds. So the Mets can quickly get back into this, just like the Braves quickly took over the division. I mean, it was about 2 weeks that the Braves took the division when the Mets were falling apart. So it can't happen that quickly. And the Reds, they don't have a tough schedule, but they play the Cardinals a lot. And if you haven't noticed lately, the Cardinals have been hot. And Adam Wainwright has been pitching like he was 15 years ago. So them games against the Cardinals are not going to be as easy as you think against the Reds, with the Reds. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think the Reds have 7 more games out of the next 30, or 7, or I think 9 games actually against the Cardinals in their last 30. So the Cardinals are not going to be an easy game for these Reds. So, they do play the Padres again. They do play the Giants as well. So the Cardinals, the Reds don't have an easy schedule. So the Mets have an opportunity, just like a couple of teams in front of the Mets in that wild card race. Those teams have opportunity as well. But all the Mets have to worry about is taking care of business. You take care of business, then all you can say is, well, we screwed ourselves in August. But if the Mets have, we have 32 games left. I don't think the Mets are going to go like 25-7 or something like that. That's crazy. Can they do that? Yeah, of course. Mathematically, they can. But that does not mean that we can just, act like August didn't happen. The Mets can go 25-7 and miss the playoffs, because 25-7 gets them 88 wins, which might get the wild card. But let's be honest. Do anybody believe that the Mets can go 25-7? That would be great. 88. I really think 84 to 88 wins is going to get the wild card, because I don't think anybody's going to run away with it. So what can you say? MLB Joey, what's up? Frank, what's up? MLB Joey, thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe to my channel. Anybody who hasn't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Just so you know, next Sunday, 1 o'clock, Mets Nationals, me and Hayden are going to go live during a game watch party. So hopefully you guys enjoy. We did this a couple of weeks ago. That was actually really fun. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of good times. It was a long-ass game. It was like 4-hour game. It was long, but it was a lot of fun with a lot of you guys. A lot of people tuned in. So hopefully we get another one like that day before Labor Day. So hopefully a lot more people will be home checking out the games, hanging out, barbecuing, checking out the stream. So look out for that. If you haven't checked out my latest video that I posted today about Francisco Lindor and Baez being troublemakers in the clubhouse and the toxic environment that they are set in, check out that video. I posted it a few hours ago. If you haven't already, please do. Leave your comments, guys. Hit on that like button, as well as the stream. If you haven't hit that like button, please do. The more likes, the more the stream goes out to more people. You guys know. You guys been following me for a while. You followed Hayden. You know the deal. The more likes, the more comments, the more the stream moves up the totem pole of the video. So that's what we're looking for. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please give me your comments. Give me your questions, whatever you got. I'm going to look at the comments right now, guys. SoCal saying Rob Manfred, terrible commissioner. I agree. Frank, yes, I think Sandy Olson have to go out. I agree. I honestly think Olson missed the bit again with this trade deadline. You know, you heard the rumors a couple during the trade deadline, or the few days after the trade deadline, where the Mets had a deal with the Cubs for Bryant and Baez for Pete Crow Armstrong and a lower level prospect. The Mets didn't make that deal because they had uncertainty about DeGrom's injury. What that makes totally no sense to me, because they went on to get Baez anyway. If you were not willing to give up one extra lower level prospect with Pete Crow Armstrong to get Chris Bryant as well, maybe you could have bashed your way into the playoffs instead of worrying about pitching. And it just, it seems like there's a coincidence between the trade deadline and the Mets falling apart. Like, I think a lot of the Mets players felt like they thought the front office was going to do a lot more to help them out. And I think it demoralized them a little bit, knowing that, damn, the front office didn't even do much for us. Do they really believe in us? And I think that hurt them a little bit. And not saying that they should be worried about that, but at the same time, when you're struggling as a team and you feel like you can get reinforcements just by making trades, just like, look, here's my problem when it came to the Sonny Olson thing with the whole Jacob deGrom uncertainty injury aspect. Why Olson didn't make that trade for Bryant and Baez. The Atlanta Braves were in third place, 4.5 to 5 games out at the trade deadline. They lost their best player in Ronald Acuna, right? They could have easily packed it up and says, oh, our season's over. No, what did they do? They went all out, got Duvall, got Soler. They got a whole new outfield to help their team. You don't think that rejuvenated the guys like Freeman and Albies and Swanson and all those guys? Absolutely it did. It gave him that boost of energy. That's why when you have an organization that does everything they possibly can to help their team, then you have the team starting to believe again. And that's what happened with the Braves. There's no coincidence that the front office says, listen, we're only 4.5, 5 games out. Yes, we lost Acuna, but we do have a lot of good players, a lot of great players as well with Freeman, Albie, Swanson. We can go on and on. They had the guys that can still pull this off. They just needed a little bit of help. They needed a little bit. They had no outfield, so they got outfield. And look at the turnaround that happened. They got hot. They got motivated again. The front office believes. The team believes. And look what happened. Now they're in first place by, 4.5 games by the Phillies? They did a total 180. Absolutely insane. Absolutely crazy. I wish the Mets would have done more. I think it would have helped this team tremendously. But let bygones be bygones now. We can't change that. We do have Baez. Brian is killing it in San Francisco. But what we can worry about now is the Marlins series. Nothing's going to matter if the Mets don't take 3 out of 4 or sweep. That's what we have to worry about. Thomas, what's up, man? Was looking for you in LA. Yeah, I was all over LA, man. I was at the game and everything like that. I was with the 7 line. There was a lot of people there. It was a lot of people I was meeting. I was checking. I haven't seen in a couple of months, so it was crazy. I know you were in LA. It was just insane. Like I said, I was doing so much in LA that I didn't even have time to set up anything stream wise, which I was trying to do, But me and my dad, we finally got on a vacation together, so we were just enjoying a lot of father-son moments and time and stuff like that. So I wish I could have found you, Tom. That would have been awesome. But maybe next time. Uh, Hopefully next year when we face the Angels, maybe I'll be back out there. We don't know, but it would have been cool to meet up. That was for sure. Honestly, that's what I thought at first, Nelson, about the Todd Frazier thing with the Yankees playing at Citi Field against the Rays that one game, the series or whatever the hell it was. That's what I thought they were mocking. But I mean, yeah, I don't know what they were. Yeah, that's what I thought they were doing. But you know what? When it comes to Lindor and Baez, they are me guys, and they seem like they're type of guys that take everything for granted and take everything to heart. So I'm not surprised that they took it that way. So what can you do? Yeah, look. We saw the Braves in a month go from third to first in about 3 weeks. There's no reason why the Mets can't go on a hot streak. You know what? Maybe this dumbs down nonsense and this whole against the fans thing motivates this team. I mean, nothing else does. So, hey, listen, you want to hate us? Good. Keep winning. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. It's annoying. It's disrespectful. But listen, if they keep winning, you can give me the middle finger for all I care. Honestly, keep winning. That's it. It's got to remain hot. We're playing teams that we're better than, playing Washington, Miami in the next 2 weeks. So we got to get it done. I think it's 16 games against these two teams. Could we go 13-3, 14-2? I doubt it. But we have to have at least 12 out of the 16. I think to have any shot, because 12 out of 16, I mean, that means the Braves and the Reds have to match that to at least stay above us. I mean, if they go any less, we gain a couple of games. That's what you have to think about, right? So, see what happens. Let's see if we can stay hot with the doubleheader tomorrow. Yeah, SoCal, absolutely. You win games, nobody cares what they do. I'm telling you, they can stick a middle finger to a kid's face. The Mets are winning, we're going to cheer. We're going to be happy. It's just the way it is. It's just how it always is, but they have to do it. You know what? The Mets haven't had more than a 6-game winning streak this year. That just tells you right there that this team was never that good. They never can get that. And that was when DeGrom was healthy. So, a 6-game winning streak, the best all year for this Mets team, is not going to get you anywhere. This team needs to go on a Yankee type of streak, honestly. That's how the Yankees got back into this. They went on that long, 13-game winning streak. So that's what the Mets have to do. They have to go on a 9, 10, 11-game winning streak, just like they did in 2019 in August. They have to do something like that to get back in the race, to get us to stop worrying about thumbs down. Bill, what's up? How you doing? Sorry. Maybe. You never know, Bill. You never know. Yeah, absolutely, Thomas. If you don't win the next 8 out of 10, and I'm guessing you're considering starting tomorrow, 8 out of 10 is doable. So that means the Mets would win 10 out of the last 12. That's what they have to do. They have to do that. They got to bear down. Like I said, the Mets haven't been losing by a lot of runs. We haven't been getting blown out by even the Giants and Dodger games. We didn't get blown out a lot. We lost 7 one-run games. We take 3 of those 7 games. Now we're 66 wins. And we're probably about 4 games out of the wild card and maybe like 6 games out of the division. A little bit closer. So it's just we've been playing good enough to stick around, but not good enough to win. And that sucks. And they got to turn it around. They've been stealing bases, which obviously helped them score runs. You've seen it there. A stolen base here. I think it was Lindor, if I'm not mistaken, or if it was Nimmo. Dominic Smith got the base hit. Nimmo comes home. It's little things about the game that analytics have killed that can win you ball games. You saw it with the Giants. You saw it with the Dodgers. The Giants stole a couple of bases here and there. A base hit here, a sac fly here. They got to run. Simple things like that. That's the Giants. They don't on paper. They don't look that good of a team, but they do the little things, and that's why they have the most wins in baseball. The same thing with the Dodgers. We saw it. Yes, they hit a lot of home runs against us, but they also manufactured base runners. They worked the counts. They bunt for a hit. If you notice something about the Dodgers, they don't strike out a lot. The Giants, they don't strike out a lot. They put the ball in play. They let the defense make the play. That's what the Mets don't do. The Mets strike out way too much. They don't put the ball in play. And that's why it was a big deal a couple of weeks ago when Rojas didn't make Stroman hit with the bases loaded with no outs. Why is that? Because if Stroman would have hit, Stroman's a decent hitter. He got a good swing. Stroman could have hit a ground ball. Maybe the guy bobbles it. Maybe he only gets one out and the Mets score a run. Simple things like that. And now you have first and third, and maybe Nimmo don't hit into a double play. Simple things like that could manufacture one run that could be a difference in a ball game. And that's the problem. And that's why I like to see the Mets run more. They got Nimmo, they got Lindor, they got Baez. They can steal bases. Those are your guys that are batting probably 1 through 4 in your lineup somewhere. Easily can get guys in scoring positions very easily with just a base hit, stealing the base. Next guy up hits a base hit, 1-0 Mets. Simple things like that. That's what the Mets have to keep on doing. Yo, Bill, you bring the big thumbs up, right there. Not like this, like that. You know what? There's so many Mets years ever. I'll tell you right now. I felt like that in 2019. Mets years ever. The Mets struggled in the first half, come on hard in the second half, but just miss. Just not enough. It seems like every year is a Mets type of year. So, there's always controversy every year. In 2019, I don't remember what the controversy was, but there was probably controversy. 2020, it was the whole Stroman issue with the whole social injustice thing. He was like everybody went hard after him for some reason. But, there's always controversy with the Mets. Will Ponds or not, there's always going to be controversy. Yeah, Conforto, I know Conforto always has these hot streaks, cold streaks, and this year it's been like a 4.5-month cold streak with like one hot streak mixed in. With Stroman, with Conforto, it just killed me because he has a beautiful swing. I feel like he can be a 270 hitter, 30 home runs, 90 RBIs type of guy. But this year, I don't know. I don't know if the contract's getting to his head. I don't know what it is. But, Conforto got that big home run against the Nationals. We need Conforto right now. We need Baez. We need a lot of these guys to get hot. Maybe they can do it. Maybe they can, come together with this whole thumbs down nonsense. Hey, if it works, it worked. Let's go. Get those W's. That's the only thing I can think of. But that's what, all these guys got to start getting hot. Pitching hasn't been the problem. We've been giving up 3, maybe 4 runs. Those are games we should win. We should be a 4 or 5 run a game team easily with this lineup, but we're not. We lost a lot of 3-2, 4-3 games. We can't lose games like that. Yeah, Riley, I know. We had a nicely. I think it was a 4-game lead, Riley. Thank you for tuning in. Hit on that like button. Hit on that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Legendary, Watermelon, I'm going to get to you real quick. I agree. We had a healthy lead, obviously. We were playing Pittsburgh right before the All-Star break and right after the All-Star break. I was in Pittsburgh for that series after the All-Star break. The Mets started to struggle against Pittsburgh those 7 games. And that's when things started to unravel. You saw it. DeGrom was back on the IL, couldn't come back from his rehab. And that was demoralizing. It sucked. But the Mets had a lead, a sustainable lead. And I still think to this day, the Mets front office did not help this team when they had the opportunity to help this team enough. And that hurt. And when this team needed the help and the front office had the opportunity to make trades to help this ball club, they did not do it. And that absolutely hurt them. And that's a problem. Yeah. Joseph, let's see if they can beat the 88 Mets for sure. So, legendary watermelon Lindor is more of a clown than Baez. Absolutely agree. I think Lindor is more of a culprit in this whole thumbs down situation than Baez. At least Baez actually spoke the truth at that press conference and said what it was. But we heard Lindor talk about this in the beginning of the year about the booing. He don't like it. He's not used to it. You know, what I don't like about Lindor, he's more of a follower than a leader. And that's a problem. And I said this in my video that I posted a couple hours ago. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Lindor, Baez, Troublemakers. Check that video out. Lindor, who's getting paid the most, who's supposed to be the superstar of this team, is supposed to be the guy who leads, who has followers follow him by example. As soon as Baez got here, Lindor was the follower, and he's been the follower. He's been the guy. Remember what Lindor said earlier in the season? You know, I'm a part of this team. I'm helping these guys. I'm with these guys. And no, you're not. You are the guy that's supposed to lead this team. You're supposed to have the big numbers. You're supposed to be this offensive guy, this superstar that we gave $341 million to. You're supposed to have people following you and lead by example. In 3 weeks or a month that Baez has been here, Lindor has been his little sidekick, basically. He is following Baez like a child would follow a parent. That's the problem. And Lindor is falling for these gimmicks that Baez is making up. And he's falling for it. And he's not realizing that Lindor is probably Baez is probably gone after this year. And Baez has to suffer the consequences and deal with this for another 10 years. So the only way the Mets fans are going to forget this is if the Mets go on a big-time run in September. It's the only way. Because if the Mets don't do that, they're going to get booed every game in September at home. So they should play better, in my opinion. But yes, I agree. Lindor is more of a clown than Baez. 110%. Yeah, I hate it. Exactly. Like, sometimes I think Rojas is just lost. Like, he has nothing else to say. Like, yes, you did have a chance. You guys couldn't even hit. Yet you lost 7 one-run games against the Giants and Dodgers. 7. All you needed was one extra hit with a man in scoring position, and you might tie and possibly win a couple of those games, which would have made a big difference. That's why it's such a negative response from a manager who's supposed to be motivating these players. It's just crazy to me with Rojas. 2019 was Wheeler. Yep, absolutely. 100%, Riley. Bill, absolutely 100%. This offseason is going to determine, is going to show a lot of Met fans exactly who Steve Cohen is. Is Steve Cohen the guy who is going to have the ear of certain players like Lindor or others? Or is he going to be the owner that he talked about who says, I don't like mediocre? And that pertains to the front office and the players. I want people that I pay to do their job and do it well. That's what Cohen said in his opening press conference when he took over the team. So Steve Cohen has to do what he has to do to fix this. Now, I'm not saying throw money at every player and pray it works. That's not how to go about things every time. But there's players on his team that should not be on this team next year. I can go through the players, but I'll leave that for a later date after the season when I do my videos about who should leave and who should stay. But Steve Cohen has the opportunity in the offseason to make the big changes that are necessary for the season that they had. Now, again, there's still a month left. Things can change. But I don't want the Mets to go on a winning streak be a couple of games out, and then fall out of it with 2 weeks to go. And then everybody's going to say, oh, we should keep Davis. Oh, we should keep McNeil. Look at Baez. Look at this. Look at that. No. Olsen screwed this team at the deadline. Cohen allowed it to happen. Lindor went to Cohen and says, we should get Baez. Cohen listened, fell for it, got Baez. That's a problem. Now, you always want to be in, have a good relationship with your star players, everything like that, and a lot of players on the team. Absolutely. But there comes a time when you have to be the boss. And when things don't go well and you have to make changes, you put your foot down and you do it. Steve Cohen does that with his hedge fund .72. He gets things done. And when things are not working out, he gets rid of people and gets new people in who can do the job. That's what he has to do with this Mets team in the offseason. Gio, thank you for tuning in. Hit on that like button. So listen. I know what the Mets look. It's easy to say what the Mets should do, but this month is going to tell exactly what the Mets should do. Because a lot of things can change. The Mets can make the playoffs. The Mets make the playoffs. Players get hot. You might not be going after a certain guy in the offseason. But I think priority number one, not including the Mets free agents, not including the pitchers, Conforto, etc. Outside the organization, players that are free agents, 100% the Mets should be all in on Chris Bryant. I don't want to see Davis at third base. You want to keep him on the team as a bench role, fine. But Chris Bryant needs to be on this team playing third base every day. We messed up in the offseason, not getting Chris Bryant. We messed up at the trade deadline, not getting Chris Bryant. The Mets need to do everything they can to get Chris Bryant wearing the orange and blue. That's all I'm going to say about the offseason so far, because I'm going to have a couple of videos during the offseason, after the season, that are going to go 100% about what the Mets should do in the offseason. Thank you, Gio. Bill says, consistent bats, coaching staff that isn't afraid to take risks, and a new training staff. I'm not going to go crazy on the training staff. I don't think the injuries are with the training staff. I think what Sandy Alderson said and Zach Scott said about the players have to be responsible for their bodies and following the plan that the training staff gives them. It seems like the players haven't been listening to that. They've been doing their own thing, whoever that might be, Stroman, Walker, Syndergaard, whoever, DeGrom. I think the players have to be more understanding that this organization is not trying to hurt them. They're trying to help them. And if you're injured, follow the health plan. I don't see what's so hard. You get free medical, guys. I mean, listen to these teams don't pay, scrub doctors to take care of you guys and therapists and everything else. They're paying an arm and a leg to get you everything you need to get back on this field. So I think the players have to take responsibility with that, though. Bill, I agree 100%. I like that comment. I don't understand why they thought that was going to be a good. Look, they could have done that internally and kept it out of the media and not tell the fans and just kept it in-house, and it would be a little, inside joke that they have that nobody would know about. And let's be honest, the fans would be doing that too when they get big hits. So it's just they should have just kept it in-house. It would have been a fun gimmick if the Mets kept on winning. A lot of fans would have been doing the thumbs down, and it would have been a good, rally call. But, Baez wanted to say it for some reason. So, oh well. Yeah, I agree. But, fans know this. Look, baseball fans know this. You fail about 85% of the time, and 50% of the time you succeed. Obviously, fans know that. But you can't be batting 220, have, 11 home runs and, 35, 40 RBIs in Lindor and expect and getting to pay what you do and expect to be the superstar in his team and not get booed. It's just I don't understand the mindset. Like you're not blind to this. You've been in the major. You're a veteran. You've been in this league 7 years, 6, 7 years. Same thing with Baez, 6, 7 years. How do you not know about this? I just don't get it. Yeah, Bill. You know what? They're grown men. Grow up. There's no growing up. It's common sense, and I don't think they want to believe it. That's the problem. That's a lot, honestly, Riley, because if you look at the 2022 free agent class, there's not a lot of guys out there. The big names are Brian and Castellanos, because Castellanos is going to opt out. So those are the two big position players that are available in 2022. That is why this offseason in 2021 was a big deal with Springer and Real Muto and all that. That's why I think the Mets needed to make the big moves here so they didn't have to worry about a bad free agent list. Maybe the Mets go after Brian and Castellanos. I don't know. Maybe they make a big trade for a third baseman and get a Jose Ramirez from Cleveland. Maybe they'll trade a Smith and Davis and a prospect for Jose Ramirez and maybe a pitcher back. Maybe they do that. I don't know. We just have to wait and see. We got to see how everything turns out. There's a lot of things that can happen with Brian, the Giants. A lot of interesting things can go on. So we just have to wait and see. But I definitely don't want Davis playing third base every day for the Mets. Yeah, I think Baez is gone. I think the actual comment kind of solidified that, unless Baez goes on a crazy streak and helps his team to the playoffs. But I don't like Baez. I never liked Baez. Even when in the offseason when people were talking about the Mets trading for a short, trading, and they were talking about all the shortstops, and Baez and Lindor was the key guys. I never wanted Baez. I don't like Baez. He strikes out too much. He picks up good numbers, but he bats 240. Home 30 to 35 RBI home runs, 90 RBIs. He just strikes out too much, and his team does not need another strikeout guy. Yeah, Riley, 2% chance to make the playoffs. You know what? I tell you right now, I would put money down on them odds right now. Like go on check out Vegas their bets. What's the odds? What's the line? I think when I was in Vegas in what was it, August? Oh no, it wasn't August. In June, when I went to Vegas, I put a couple of hundred on the Mets winning the division, which seemed right at the time. It was like plus 250, and I think to the Mets to win the pennant, it was like plus 550. I put a couple hundred on that, and I put $100 to Mets to win the World Series because it was like plus 750 or something like that. So, it's a couple $100 probably wasted, but at the time the Mets were in first place, and I felt good about them. So you never know. Hey, if the Mets somehow come out and make the playoffs or something like that, that would be interesting, So we'll see what happens. Billy, what's up, man? Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Riley, I agree. Things have to change, man. Really have to change. Hopefully Cohen does that. Yeah, the problem with the bench this year, since they've been so productive, like Pilar and VR, Pilar's a little up there in age, but VR is young. So he might be looking for, a 2 or 3 year deal and have a starting role. So the great thing about this bench is that they won us a lot of games, but the downfall of that next year is that a lot of these guys might get starting roles for another team and get a couple of years contract where the Mets are not willing to give them a starting role and a multi-year deal. So we might not see VR here next year. Maybe Pilar, maybe a Drury, something like that. But these guys might get starting roles somewhere else, and you can't blame them for taking it and taking a multi-year deal. So we got to wait and see on that one. Yeah, well, you know what, Hayden? he's got to be a big boy, you know? You got to put on your big boy shoes, you know, learn to tie your laces. You know, there's been everybody who, not just baseball, in life, has been through something that gets you down, right? You figure out a way to pick yourself back up and live your life. That's what Lindor has to do. It's freaking baseball. Get over it. You know, if McNeil is playing second base next year for this team, how about this? How about working in the offseason together to get that camaraderie, become friends, work on your double play tandem, and you go from there, right? What's so hard about that? That's what I think, guys. So we just got to wait and see. Sorry, guys. Got text. Yeah, so I honestly think, guys, there is a divide within this clubhouse. And if you check out my video, you'll see why I think there's a divide. And I put two cliques, like cliques, like groups that like to be together. There's one group, one clique, and another clique together in this clubhouse. I think they're divided. And there's players like Lindor, Baez, Stroman, Walker. The other side is Lindor. I'm sorry, Alonso, Diaz, McNeil, Smith, like that. Like it just seemed like this team is divided, and it starts with Baez, Lindor, Stroman. These guys are very selfish players. They're very me guys. I can't say nothing about Stroman with his numbers. He's been great this year, but the Mets have to be careful with Marcus Stroman. I'm going to talk about Stroman a little bit because I don't trust Stroman. And the reason why I say that, we saw when he came over in the trade in 2019. He didn't pitch well when he became a Met. 2020, when the Mets were expecting him to come back from his little injury and help out this rotation when Syndergaard went out and the Mets were dropping like flies in the rotation, the Mets were expecting him to come back from the injury, start the season with them in the rotation. He opted out about a week and a half before, 2 weeks before the season. That's a problem. That is selfish right there. He didn't opt out because of COVID. He opted out knowing that he was going to take the qualifying offer from the Mets, the $19 million, bet on himself to get a big contract in 2022. Stroman's best year is this year. It is no coincidence that his best year is in a contract year. I don't trust Stroman so much that if you give him a 4 or 5 year deal worth $100+ million, I don't think he's going to perform at this level again. And that's what you're paying for. Be careful with Marcus Stroman. A lot of people like Stroman. They think he's consistent. I'm telling you right now, guys, he is going to be a big disappointment if you sign him to a long-term deal. I think the Mets should go another route. I don't know if it's a trade. I don't want Stroman back. I do not trust him. I don't know. I told you why I don't trust him. I do not trust Marcus Stroman. Yeah, Bill, exactly. Dealing with adversity. That's it. Everybody goes through adversity in life. In pro sports, life, school, jobs, everything. Listen, if we act like Baez and Lindor at our jobs, I tell you right now, we won't have a job. I'm telling you right now. Absolutely wouldn't have a job. Am I going to complain when my boss gets on me and gets me angry and all that? Yeah. I'll keep it to myself. Because at the end of the day, he's my boss. He tells me what to do. I do it. It's just that simple. No ifs or buts about it. It's just that simple. It's like they got to get it through their heads. Some players get it, some don't. You have to understand, when you don't perform, you get booed. That's it. You get booed louder in New York because it's New York. That's it. Now, look, There's one guy I got to give credit to. It has nothing to do with the Mets. Giancarlo Stanton has been booed since day one when he got here. The first day he put on the Yankee pinstripes, played his first game as a New York Yankee, struck out 3 times, hit into a double play. The Yankee fans booed him. They booed him for 3 years straight. Do you see what he's doing right now? Absolutely insane. What he's doing right now. Absolutely insane. So, for all the grief, all the booing, all the backlash Giancarlo Stanton has got on the Yankees, he never said a bad word about the fans, never showed them up, never said he's going to boo them, thumbs down, nothing. He went out every day. He played, even though he didn't play good. Finally turns it around, starts playing the field, hitting like crazy, and now you're getting cheered. It's that simple. You perform in this town, you will get cheered. That's it. No ifs or buts about it, guys. Play good, get cheered. Play bad, get booed. It's elementary school type of understanding. And this Baez, Lindor, they do not get it. Baez, I don't care if he don't get it because he's not going to be a Met after this year. Lindor better get it because he's here for 10 more years. And it's scary to think because we have, in the past, another guy, number 12, came from Cleveland, Roberto Alomar. We all know who he is. Who came here. Yes, he was much older than Lindor, but he came here and he was a complete bust after he was an all-star before the Mets got him the year before. It's a problem. And Lindor has to figure it out quickly because if he is going to sulk and be a baby about it and not perform, he is not going anywhere with this team. And that's a problem because we got him for a long, long, long time. All right, guys. So, been with you guys for an hour. Gonna call it a night. I really appreciate everybody that joined in tonight. All your comments, all your responses, all your opinions, guys. Really appreciate it. Don't forget, guys, check out my video about Lindor and Baez being troublemakers in the Mets clubhouse. Check that video out if you haven't already. Please hit on that like button, guys, on this stream, on that video. Comment on the stream, on the video that I posted earlier. I really appreciate all your support, guys. Love you, love you, love you. Enjoyed it off night. We don't have to worry about the Mets losing tonight. We can sit back, relax, see if the Braves and Reds lose. Maybe we'll gain a half a game. Hopefully, we get this Marlins series going and a good start. Win the doubleheader tomorrow. Win this series. Hopefully, sweep. Get back in this wild card. Get back in this division. I really appreciate all your support, guys. Hit that like button, guys. Everybody, if you're new to the channel, hit on that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Riley, everybody else, if I missed your name, I'm sorry. They came over from the Hayden's channel. I really appreciate it. Love you guys. Have a good night, everybody. As always, Met fans, let's go Mets. Have a good night, everybody.